All right, everybody, come on in. Welcome back to another episode of the Wives Club. I think I'll turn this on as a podcast on YouTube and YouTube Music. The Wives Club was started in 2021 when I booked a session with the late, great Kevin Samuels. I always like to say it wasn't for me. I am happily average, but I did feel a calling every time he said, "Where are the older women to teach the young?" So for anybody new here, hi, I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher. You may know me for my cooking channel. I make food and femininity content. However, whenever we have a new episode on the Kevin Samuels channel, I like to come online here with you all and share what we started in the Patreon years ago, where we would react to his content from our own lived experience as former wives, current wives, and future wives. Kevin changed my life, and I intend to keep his name in the algorithm. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Let me first apologize. I'm getting over a cold, and the cough is the last thing to go. So if you see me mute myself or have to refresh myself, I've got my beverages here and everything. So let me pull up my clips. You all can come on in. The last episode that just went live on, I believe it was Friday night or Saturday night, was The Grinch Father Provides a Holiday Fix for Your Relationships. So shout out to the Godfather. I know he was a Grinch to many, but if you ever had the opportunity to talk to him one-on-one, my experience with him was he was very generous and very supportive. So I'm really grateful to have had that opportunity. All right. Pardon me. So if you see me looking down over here, I have all my notes in my phone. I have all my clips. And this was another montage of some of Kevin's best moments, and I'm going to just react to them and give you all my perspective. Of course, you're willing to share your thoughts as well. But I really hope that whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, this will help those who need it. Hello, Arturo. Thank you for being here. And hello, Sarlong Kim. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so let's get into it. All right, everyone. All right. So I just looked at my first note. He shouted out to Luke Hazley. Lucy was one of his moderators, and that was the first time I remember hearing of her. Ain't that right, Luke Hazley? So it just kind of touched me when I heard that in this episode. All right, so let's go ahead and go into it. In the first part of this video, one of the things that Kevin said was, we all know what happens when a man does wrong, right? If he has to make up for something and buy flowers or whatever, everybody knows what happens when a man messes up and he's in the doghouse, if you will. But ladies, what happens when we mess up? What happens when we need to correct a mistake? Is there even a version of a doghouse, if you will, for what we do? And unfortunately, the answer is most women have not perfected the art of the apology. Pardon me. So I think not only is this is a relationship skill, this is a life skill, ladies. And Kevin talked about that need to be right. He was the king of the acronyms, the shame, the insults, the guilt, and the need to be right all come together as sign language. And I have seen it as well when I talk to women. There's always an excuse. There's always a reason why. There's always, some type of rationale to us that other people should understand. And we always used to hear Kevin Samuel say, the world doesn't owe you understanding. So ladies, if you mess up, own it. Just like you expect others to, just like you expect your kids to, or anybody in a service position or at a store, at a restaurant, you want them to make it right. So what does that look like? Can you humble yourself and just say, I'm really sorry. I've made mistakes and I just have to say, I am so sorry. But it's not just saying, I'm sorry, full stop, not with the, but you made me do it. but you bring it out of me, but you understand my circumstance, but you know this is just how I am. And none of that is going to fly with the caliber of men that we want because they have learned that life is not going to give them the second chances that we are graced over and over and over again. All right. So make sure you have an apology, like he said, that matches what you've done. And then the key is, ladies, don't let your words just be hollow and say, I'm sorry. And then you go back to that same behavior. You have to make sure you put things in place so that that never happens again. If relationship is important to you, if not, you may be able to run circles around a lesser man, but the men that we actually want, they're going to see right through it and they're going to call you on it. So just be ready if you're not used to someone holding you accountable. All right, let's continue on. And he said, you need to make it up. So, yes, ladies, it's true. You need to be ready to correct the mistake and offer some grace for, the flaw that you made. Hello, Killis is here. Good evening, my dear. One of the things that Kevin said in this episode is that, especially in our culture, we have not learned how to conflict with the kind of men that we want. And I think that's really key, ladies, meaning that we know how to get somebody told. We know how to put somebody in their place. We know how to embarrass you. And that only works with a certain caliber of men. And it may be fun in the moment. I don't think it's fun at all. But if that's what gets you excited, if you love having that last word, if you love going toe to toe with someone, if it's always a debate with you, what's going to happen is you're going to think that this is how you behave with all men. And one day you're going to meet that one who's going to say, okay. My man says, I'm going to help you mean what you say. So just be very careful about that, ladies. And conflict resolution, again, not only is that a relationship skill, it's also a life skill. You have to learn, I don't know if it was Kevin Samuels who said, you have to learn how to disagree without being disagreeable. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I understand your point, but I see it a different way. There's nothing wrong with being very passionate about what you believe, but not acting out of character in a way that people remember you for that bad moment. So again, it's a skill, which means it can be learned, which means it can be practiced, but you have to have the self-awareness of that. If every time you get upset about something or you disagree with something, it turns into a shouting match and you just cannot have a conversation and you've gotten that feedback, that is going to hold you back from the type of relationship that you want. All right. Gillis says, I'll help you mean what you say. Oh, yeah. Mean old Mister has the best sayings. Absolutely. All right. Oh, we got Lucy in the house. Hello, my dear. I heard him call you out in this episode in the very beginning. It was so happy to hear that. You all, please check out Lucy and I actually have a relationship class starting this Saturday. So I'll put it in the banner. You can go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com. We have 3 levels of classes. We have a beginner's class, which is starting Saturday. We have an intermediate class, which is starting in January. And then our advanced class will be March of next year. So the basics, the beginner's class is the relationship basics. Ladies, if you don't know what we mean when we say you need to study your man, you need to anticipate his needs. What are his likes? What are his dislikes? What is his morning routine, evening routine? How does he start his day? What gets him off of his schedule? How does he like to unwind? If you're in a relationship and you can't answer those questions, that is a problem. So we're going to cover that and a lot more in the relationship basics. This is going to be taught Saturday, December 14th and Saturday, December 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern. And you can join us. Go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com. And I think we still, no, does this one have a coupon? No, we have a coupon for the flagship for the intermediate course. All right. So thank you all so much. Hello, Pierre Bike. Thank you so much for being here. And Killis has dropped the link. Okay, wonderful. Let us continue. All right, so we talked about conflict resolution, ladies. This is going to be really important, especially if you know how to do it in your big jobs. It's going to be really important because it shows respect to the men that we say that we want. All right, pardon me. All right. So another thing that is a little bit of a taboo in our community is one of the women who called in. She was, I think, 20, and she was already going through a divorce. I was married at 25 for 10 years, 2 children from marriage. And I always say, as a reformed modern woman, I learned a lot. Unfortunately for me, the marriage ended in divorce because these big jobs and big careers don't really matter in the relationship. So I got on the program second time around. But this young woman called in and she had some philosophical question about, what do you think the races are going to look like? Do you think we're all going to be one big blended melting pot? And, that may happen. None of us can predict the future. But for right now, one of the things that Kevin said is that, especially for the men that we want that have made themselves, they usually are very race loyal. So especially young ladies who really believe what you see on social media or what you see with athletes and entertainers is everywhere. It is not. All right. So I would say focus on building the relationship skills that are going to help you in the real world and not in your fantasy world. And, I'll just say in our community, ladies, Kevin said it in this episode that our men have had typically lower standards than other races of men. So if you want to be competitive in other arenas, that's fine. Do what you want to do, but just know that the relationship skills that are going to be maybe you think like the cherry on top for our men are going to absolutely be required in other areas. And our men are waking up and they're not putting up with it. So they are going to be totally fine to leave you right where they are. They may like you. They may even love you. They may even enjoy time with you, but they're not going to die a slow, painful death because you just choose to be difficult. Hello, Neo Moses. Thank you so much for being here. One moment. Oh my goodness. I'm struggling with my voice, but I have to read this one. The Condemned is coming through with the $100. So incredibly generous. Thank you. One of my day one scholars, and obviously a huge fan of the late, great Kevin Samuels. And so I just want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting. That is so generous. He says, I learned from men that an apology happens in 3 steps. All right, ladies, let's pay attention to the men. Number 1, acknowledging you made a mistake. Number 2, a sincere and meaningful apology for making the mistake. And number 3, holding yourself accountable to ensure you do not make that mistake again. An empty apology is worthless. And that's so true, ladies. And I always like to put myself on the hot seat. I've told this example before, and I'm not proud of it, but I do feel like the older women teach the young by saying what we've done right as well as what we've done wrong. And you all know I have a cooking channel. And before I started my cooking channel before the pandemic, I used to do some catering and do events. And there was a chef that I used to work with that my man, he didn't really like him. He was kind of not all the way above board, just a little bit shady in some business dealings. However, his craft was amazing. The food, the presentation, all of that was great, which is what I had the big googly eyes for. But my man told me, he was like, yeah, I don't want you working with him anymore. And that should have been enough. Now, here's what happened. We had agreed to do a catering event that was already paid for and on the books. And my man said, I don't want you working with him anymore. What I should have done is said, okay, we have this event planned. Can I do this one last event? And then, be done with it. But in my infinite wisdom, and I'm always over here telling on myself because I want it to be helpful, I just thought I could just do this event and no harm, no foul, and then get done when I was ready to get done, not when I was asked to be done. Well, when me and old Mister found out about it, it was not pretty. It just was not pretty. And it wasn't about the catering event. Remember, ladies, it's about the respect. I should have just asked. And he told me one time in a row that this was unacceptable and never would happen again because he needed to know everything up front. He didn't need to find out about stuff later, even if it was harmless. And I was just broken because I never wanted to be thought of as untrusting or, hiding anything. And yeah, it was radio silent for a few weeks. It was really, really bad. But I profusely apologized, not only apologized for it, which was our step one, acknowledging it, step one. I didn't, try to tap dance around it. I didn't try to say, well, you understand, or we had this money, or it's just one event. I owned it. I had to eat it. It was just, that was on me. So I acknowledged it and I made a sincere apology and basically, cut off, return the chafing dishes just like everything was done. And I still regret that decision to this day. It wasn't worth it. And it took time to build that trust back. So ladies, learn from an older woman. You don't have to go through it the hard way. If you want to listen and learn, you absolutely can. But you shouldn't apologize often because you shouldn't be making these mistakes over and over. But when you do mess up, own it, make it right. And what I told my man to make it right is you will never have to ask me again. Now I over volunteer because, he'll tell me, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, I need to hear that from you. I don't need to be the one to say it's not that big of a deal. So thank you so much, The Condemned, for the $100. That is so incredibly grateful. Lucy says, the best apology is change behavior. Yeah. And I never did another event again and don't even have contact because it's just not worth it. Yeah, shout out to you. Yes, we appreciate it so, so much. All right, so let's go back to this episode. I'm going to keep this up here. We appreciate it so much. All right. So we talked about the apology. We talked about being competitive, ladies. If you want to be competitive, a lot of us have not prioritized relationships. So what you do is you meet the one, and then you're bringing these skills that you think that you have into the relationship, and you have the ability to take the test, but you're failing over and over and over again. All right. So the next thing that Kevin Samuels talked about in this episode, the same young woman, and I always wonder why women call and they ask these questions about what if this happened, or I'm asking for a friend when you have your own like hair on fire right now. And so, she was young and had admitted that she had gained a lot of weight. And this is another area that I struggle with too. But especially for the young ladies, there's no reason. If you haven't had children yet, you need to be in your best shape. You have youth on your side. You can make the choices. That's one of the regrets too, because if you don't get a handle of it, it's something that you're going to have to deal with for the rest of your life. And then it will turn into health problems as you age. So make sure you stay on top of that because that's something that you can absolutely control. All right. So the next clip that Kevin was talking about was what happens with women from ages 27 to 45 when they are not necessarily young anymore, but they're unattached. And he went through this entire description where he was talking about why a lot of modern women cannot emotionally connect with a man. And ladies, what you have to realize is that the men that you want, you don't have a long learning curve to prove yourself with them. This is a mistake that I see a lot of women making. They think the time starts when you see the man, when you're aware that he's qualified, when he's checked all of your boxes. He's already been watching you, studying you, collecting data before he even approached. And so if you're brought up to the front of the line and you drop the bag again and again. He's just going to move on to someone that's ready. One of the things that Kevin said in this episode is that so many women have these toxic female single friends. And Lucy and I just did an episode about girls' trips. But ladies, you have to realize that when a man is vetting you, he's not just looking at you, he's looking at everything that comes with you. Meaning your habits, your family, your friends, your patterns, all of that. So if you have some ratchet friends that you think, oh, it's like my little guilty pleasure. I know there's always drama with her. It's always something with her, but it's not going to spill over. I'm going to keep that from my man. It's not going to work. And he talked about how the time and the emotional capacity that you give these friends that are taking your best years and your best efforts that should be 100% devoted to the family that you create, they're going to get their fix. You're going to listen. They're going to cry. They're going to go back to the same toxic relationships or bad behavior and then come dump on you again. It could be your friends. It could be your family members. And ladies, again, this is on you. This is something that you have to know. If this is a pattern, if this is somebody that's just choosing to continue to repeat the same behavior, it's not your job to fix them. It's not your job to rescue them. Because Kevin said in this episode, the men that we want, they require standards and boundaries. And they're going to tell you, just like my man told me, I don't want you working with them. I don't want you hanging out with them. I don't like, whatever it is. And Lucy and I taught the wife lessons. And for the man that's a husband to you, I say agree first and understand later if you need to understand it all. Or you can ask 20 questions and waste his time and he'll just tire of it and say, you know what, this is too much of a headache. So be mindful of that, ladies. And the other thing that Kevin said in this episode with your toxic friends and your toxic family, the quiet part is that you enjoy it. He said there's some comfort in the dysfunction, and that's a you problem. That's something that you have to ask yourself, why do I like it over here? It reminds me of one of the students in our class. It's just kind of like she just really gets a thrill. There's always some type of friend drama or Real Housewives or whatever. And I'm like, why is that even interesting to you? But if you're really being honest with yourselves, ladies, like you can't wait to get your popcorn and your tea and tell me what happened now. I want all the salacious details. Well, just know that, unless you're able to leave it right there, that's going to bleed over into who you are and how you carry yourself. Like this student said, well, you see these women arguing with their rich husbands on TV. So that's how you think a woman is supposed to conduct herself in public. And then you meet the real one and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let you keep that right there. Good luck with that. And then I see women scrambling. Oh, I didn't mean it. No, I'm ready now. He only gave me a few months. That's all that you have, ladies. It's really that quick. So just be mindful of that. And if you do enjoy that family drama, that friend drama, I would say you're not relationship ready. Who all do we have in here? We got Mona, the moderator in the house. Thank you so much for being here. And Mona says, yes, it's going to spill over. So, Kevin Samuels always talked about choices and trade-offs, and you are going to have to choose. Absolutely. All right, let's see. All right, let's go. Let's continue on. Another thing that Kevin Samuel said that was just incredible for me to hear, and it's tragic to say, but ladies, you have to think about this. Part of this comfort that you may have in the dysfunction of whatever your friends or your family continue to drag you through, you have gotten so good at seeing flaws in the men that approach you. You disqualify them left, right, and center. Nobody's good enough. And he said, you've gotten so good at fighting. You've gotten so good at believing that, these men have an agenda. They're out to get you. They want something from you. You are actually terrified of winning. And I thought that was fascinating. And it's so sad to say, but I think this is true. So many women have distracted themselves with all of this busying about, if you will, and being involved in relationships and other people's business that has nothing to do with you, because the thought of just being quiet with yourself and thinking about, wow, what if this is the one? What if my dating days are over? What if I actually have the opportunity to build a family and memories of my own? And that in and of itself terrifies some women. He said, you are terrified of winning. And to me, that's incredibly sad, because relationships and marriage, this is why we celebrate, ladies. The party was not about you and your dress and the cake. It was about two families coming together to celebrate. Our lineage is going to go on. You have found your life partner, if you will, the match. This was a celebration, so it should be a good thing. But he said that relationships are work, and ladies, you have to do that work. He said that it requires time. And if you have friends and family that are consuming that time, you don't have time for the man that you want. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Hello, Bert is here. Hello, Wanna Be Natural is here. JC says this is good. I'm so glad it's helpful. So glad that it's helpful. The Condemned says, absolutely. Once we get on our purpose, we are looking for the woman who is ready right now. That's true, ladies. I've heard the same thing from my man. So if you look at the relationships that you have, or the relationships that you have had, and they do not reflect the relationship that you want to have, you are unprepared. I'm going to fast forward to the last woman who called in, and she was sitting on the couch and she was talking to Kevin, and I think she was 30. And if you listen to her, she said something about, I'm ready for a real man. And like Kevin does surgically, he peels the onion and he's asking her, what about your last relationship? And she said it was a year. He said, what happened to that? And she said, he wasn't mature. He was more like a boy, not a man. And then the relationship before that, maybe a couple years. And the last real relationship maybe was in college. So another 30-year-old woman who has spent a decade entertaining the type of men that she knows she cannot happily submit to. So her relationship experience, her relationship resume has her ill prepared for now. She says she wants a real man. And I have seen this so many times with the women that I coach. They wait until they're 30, 40, 45, 50 plus, and they're like, okay, finally, I'm ready. Ladies, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at the drop of a dime. You don't just get to cherry pick the man who has built himself, and now you say, okay, I want that one over there. He comes with requirements that a lot of you do not have. And the problem is when you waste time fooling about with men who are not husband material, if you want marriage, the only relationship experience that you have is for the foolishness, is for someone you can boss around, is for someone who doesn't hold you accountable, is for someone that tells you something, you're like, yeah, whatever, you'll be all right. Then you meet somebody who's like, yeah, we're not doing that. And that does not compute with you because you have not been prepared. So just think about that, ladies. Think about, we got to do a better job about, like Kevin used to say, what do you want life to look like when you're my age? 49, I'll be 50 next year. What do you want life to look like in your 40s, 50s, and 60s? Ladies, it will happen, and you can absolutely age gracefully. I'm looking forward to, the boys being, almost up and out and enjoying my golden years, but not as a golden girl. All right. Let's see what else you all are saying in the chat, and then we're going to continue on. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, yeah. Sometimes women, I'll tell you what my man told me. And I think I said this in coaching. Ladies, the way men choose women who are wives is completely different from what we do, and I'll explain. Once a man has built himself, like the Condemned says, once he's on his purpose and he knows that he's ready for a woman, he is looking for women that show up as wife material first, meaning You come in the door and everything about you says wife consistently. You remind him of the wives that he has seen and admired, maybe his mother, maybe his grandmother, maybe other men that he knows their wives. Only then, if he is marriage minded and he says, now that's a wife right there, then he decides, okay, do I like her enough for her to be my wife? So, how you show up matters first. Ladies, you're putting so much effort into the appearance, and the appearance is great, but he will categorize you as other if you don't show up as a wife first. And what I see with a lot of women is you pick the man that you like. Oh, he does it for me. I'm attracted to him. He's 6 feet tall. He makes this kind of money. He drives this kind of car. You have no idea if he would make a good husband, a good father. Is he responsible? You have no idea about the character of the man. You just like what you like. So then once you have decided you like this man, then you're trying to make him into the husband of your dreams. It doesn't work that way, ladies. That's why you're always chasing, you're always trying. Then you get tired and you're like, okay, fine. I want a real man. I want a ready-made man. So if you think that the physical attraction or whatever skills you think you have that are not wife material are going to lead to wife, you're mistaken. You have to show up as a wife first. And sometimes women are like, oh, okay, I started as the fun girl, but no, take me seriously. No, I'm serious now. I really want a relationship. It's too late, at least with that one, because you are not going to switch up on him when you came through the door as the fun girl and then try to convince a man who's on his purpose that he should now take you seriously. All right. Disciple says, give me an offering now. You all are fine. This is my absolute joy to give back. I'm glad it's helpful. We have a huge super chat here. So thank you so much, The Condemned. Good evening. Good evening. Forgive me. Neo Moses says there's many I've opened with this dialogue, and many seem to want the society narrative and the lies it offers more than the truth. Yeah, I mean, I believe the older women should speak to the young. I don't believe I have a place to speak to men, but what I'm seeing and what I would tell the boys, you lay out your benefits package and you lay out your expectations at the same time, and you let her choose. Ladies, we are outnumbered. There's too many women that are going to get on the program. So if you think, I was talking to my man earlier, about someone who is like, resting, what face all the time. And she's like, well, when you get to know me, I'm really nice. My man said, oh, so I'm supposed to go to the pound and see that angry dog in the corner and listen to the I don't know, salesperson tell me, oh no, when you really get to know him, it's really sweet puppy. Not going to work. And if you're offended by the animal analogy, I don't know what to say. All right, let us continue on. I'm glad this is helpful. All right, so again, we are reacting to the Kevin Samuels clip, the latest one, Holiday Fix for Your Relationship. So again, this was a montage of Kevin Samuels moments, and I hope this is helpful to you all. So I'm just going to check over on Instagram and check over on TikTok. Everybody's doing well. All right. So again, ladies, if you believe in relationships, if marriage is important to you, he said, a man is a gift and it is a blessing. Ladies, you don't have a lot of these opportunities. You get one opportunity to get the outcome that you want. If you're lucky, maybe two. And that's a big maybe. And he says, when you find the right man, put your track shoes on, get to work, stop the dilly-dallying, stop playing these little games. If he is husband material to you and he is vetting you, get your match and get out of this dating market, because when you've met someone that's different. You all know when you've met that one. He also said the world does not owe us understanding. So ladies, whatever issues that you have, whatever hurts, whatever pains, whatever upbringing, whatever all of that, have you considered that the man of your dreams has the same struggles? Have you considered that the man of your dreams fights his own demons every day? Have you considered that the man of your dreams has fears, maybe suffers with some lack of confidence, whatever it is, but he gets up and he pushes through every day? Can we not be the same? Can we not offer the same? Can we not trust the same? Or, like my man says, look, if you're not a wife, just say you're not a wife and leave the husbands alone. I see too many women who know they are not wife material, but you want to cherry pick the best husband for yourself. Selfish. Let us continue. All right. So we talked about the man that we want comes with conditions, comes with boundaries. And I love this. Kevin said you have to open up your mouth, ladies, and be vulnerable. Like they say, if you're scared, say you're scared. And here's the thing, I jest, but it's true. Ladies, be honest. If you weren't raised to be a wife, say that. If you are learning on the job, say that. If you're terrified of having your heart broken, say that. But the problem is, so many women with our ego and our pride, we act like, oh, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you the truth. Men, this one is for you. Like I always say, I don't speak to the men, but I have had more than one woman in private coaching tell me, Maggie, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm figuring this out on the go. What do I do? Okay, now what? Now what do I do? Now what do I do? And I'm like, what in the world is going on? From the outside, you want the world to think that you've got it together and you are crumbling on the inside. So play that game if you want to. The man of your dreams is going to test you and he will respect you more if you say, you know what, I'm struggling in this area. I know I have a temper and I'm working on it and it's burned me in the past. Please be patient with me. This is what I'm doing to correct it. Ladies, if you cannot humble yourself and say, this is what I'm working on with the man of your dreams, leave him alone. Let him go find somebody who will be honest and who will get on the program. All right. Oh, Neo says, Miss Maggie, you should react to the women in China. It's getting horrible there. I was shocked it's gotten so bad for marriage there. Unfortunately, I'm unaware, but yeah, this started out being a Western problem, but ladies, apparently around the world, it's getting really bad. But thank you for sharing that. Bert says your man is right. You like the analogy? I forgot what I said already. Honesty is the best policy. It's true. In relationships, I see so many women who they play games because these games have worked with lesser men. And that is a tragic part. There's nothing like seeing a woman live in regret because she touched that stove and she got burned. She didn't believe him the first time when he said, these are my expectations. And you say, oh yeah, absolutely fine. And the whole time you knew you weren't prepared. The Condemned says, I hope the women who want to be wise are listening and taking notes. Well, the internet is forever. So I hope so too. But ladies, it's your choice and it's your life. Absolutely. Do what's best for you. Just know you will be 40 and 50 and 60 one day. And we want you to be happy in those ages. All right. Oh, all right. Good evening, Aaron Laura's here. Let's continue on. I am reacting to Kevin Samuel's latest episode. I think it was The Grinch Father Provides a Holiday Fix for Your Relationship. So whether you believe in New Year's resolutions or just setting goals, ladies, we're all winding down at the end of this year. If you do not have the relationship outcome that you want, then you have to ask yourself, what have I been doing that has repelled the men that could have been a husband to me? All right, so we talked about that. And if you know you're not relationship material, exit, go do what you do over there. Nobody cares, but leave the men who are ready to go. Leave them alone. You don't qualify. You just don't. And Kevin said, get out of the market because you only have a limited time. The other thing that he talked about, this expectation that the man of your dreams is going to wait on you, it's flawed. If you have single girlfriends in your ear saying, if he was a real man, he would understand. If he was a real man, he would fill in the blanks. The real men that we want don't have the time and aren't going to take the time to help you get to where you need to be. So, this is something that you have to own and you have to fix. And it's definitely fixable if it's not too late. But trying to blame a man for your bad behavior or your relationship decisions, that's not helping you, not the man that you want. All right. So he said, be vulnerable and allow yourself to risk again. Now, risk is one of those words, some women may be jumping out of the window now, but all relationships are risks. I had a consult with one woman who was just all in her like therapy space about her attachment, avoidant, whatever. I was like, there are no guarantees. Ladies, have you considered that the man that is vetting you is worried that he may give you the ring, you let yourself go, put on a whole bunch of weight, have a few kids, stop being intimate with him, and then divorce him and take half of his income? How does he know that you're not going to do that? So this whole thing that you all are just building this ring of fire and living in fear that what if he does this? I got to go searching for things. Have you ever considered that the man who is risking his livelihood to be with you also has fears, but he's giving you an opportunity to prove otherwise? So if I were you, I would take that opportunity. And if you're not emotionally available, then you need to work on that. All right. Oh, yes, I know. Yeah, habitually single. Hello, everybody coming in. Yes, shalom and peace to you as well. All right, so moving on to the last woman who called in, and then I'll see what you all are saying in the chat. He was asking her some questions, and one of the things that he asked her was, "Why do you want to be married?" And this is something that I've started asking women, and it's fascinating to me. A lot of women who say they want to be married don't know why. And one of the answers that she gave in the episode was, "Oh, I just think it's time. I'm ready to settle down. I come home and I don't really have anybody to talk to about my day. I don't really have anybody to travel with." And he was like, "Why do you think we want to talk about your day?" It's incredibly short-sighted. Ladies, the purpose of marriage is that you two become one and you are building something that is bigger than what either of you could do alone. That could be children and family, that could be business, that could be some type of project or, I don't know, nonprofit, whatever it is. But marriage is not for you to have your permanent plus one. So many women are looking at marriage like, well, I'm lonely now, so I just want somebody. Number one, that's incredibly selfish and incredibly short-sighted. So, ladies, you need to be prepared to answer that question. If someone asks you, do you want to be married? Why? Take some time now to think about that answer. And then I would add on top of that, do you want to be a wife? Being a wife is a full-time job, which is different than just being married. And if you want to be a wife, what kind of wife do you want to be? That is what I ask the women that I talk to. And I just sit there and look at them, blinking fast and slow, and just thinking that, well, somebody's supposed to tell me what I'm supposed to do. No. Yes, you'll customize yourself to your man a little bit, but again, remember I said, ladies, the men that we want expect us to come in the door relationship ready. Shout out to the class that Lucy and I are doing on Saturday. Do you know your man? Do you know anything about him? Or are you just happy to be here? Do you know his likes and dislikes? Have you studied him? Have you learned how he communicates? Do you know what makes him shut down? Do you know how he likes his space, how he starts his day, how he likes to wind down, how he likes his eggs? I mean, look, if you're one of these women that's like, okay, we're 50-50 partners, I cannot help you. Then tag team, you're it. Jump in the ring and fight hard just like he does. But I always say we are not the same. We are not equal. We are equally valued, but we are very different. And I think our differences are beautiful and they complement each other. So if you haven't thought about that, ladies, you're just out here looking for someone to come tap you on the head and say, duck, duck, goose, you're it. That's not how it's going to work. It costs way too much for a man to take you as his bride and you don't know what you're doing. You're just going to sit there and look at him. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat, and then we're going to continue on. Yes, absolutely. Thank you all for dropping the links. Neo Moses says, I had an ex who wanted a puppy or a baby in the relationship, and I realized she wanted it because she was bored. Mind entanglement. Yes, ladies, that's not a good reason. It's not going to fly at all. You have to really be of value, like Lucy talks about, an asset. The man that you want has to be able to look at you and evaluate everything that you bring to the table, subtracting everything that's going to cost him to keep you around, and still decide, yes, I can move faster and further and meet my goals having her by my side. If you cannot answer how that man marrying you is going to be a benefit to him, you still have some work to do. If the answer to why you want to be married is all about you, I want a man, I'm lonely, I don't want to travel alone, I don't have anybody to talk to. If all you can think about is how marriage serves you, you will stay single. All right, let us continue on. All right. The other thing that she said is, at 30 years old, and we talked about this a little bit, that the last man that she dated was boy-like. And here's the thing, ladies, Lucy and I have talked about this a lot. The purpose of dating is to determine if this is a suitable match for marriage or long-term. If you want something traditional, if you just want a hot girl summer and turn into a hot girl decade, go do that. But spending a year or 2 years or whatever you're doing, a decade, with somebody that you know is not husband material, I always tell the women, you are wasting time that you do not have to waste. Because not only have you wasted the time in your best years, in your 20s, but you have not developed the relationship skills that are going to help you in marriage and long term with the caliber of man that you actually want to be with. Do you know how to be peaceful to him? Kevin talked about that in this episode, all of the things that it comes with. Do you know how to get on the program? Do you know how to be agreeable? Do you know how to offer your thoughts and opinions at a time that he is ready for it? Do you know how to anticipate his needs? Do you know how to be a support system to him? Do you know how to protect his privacy? Are you the feminine asset to his masculine brand? But if you spend a decade doing whatever you want to do with whoever you want to do it, that is what you are an expert at. And so you have to ask yourself, the relationship skills that you have developed, are those transferable skills to the relationship that you want? And unfortunately, for most women, the answer is no. All right, so let's see what else we have, and then we're going to wrap this one up, and I'll give you all some announcements and some opportunities if you all want to do some learnings. So we all have a past. We all have relationship history, and that's fine. Nobody is saying here that you have to be perfect. But one of the questions that Kevin Samuels asked is, ladies, what do you want life to look like when you're 40, 50, or 60? And I've asked some of the women that I coach, and most recently I asked them, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be known for? And a lot of women don't have an answer to that. And that's sad, because to me, that means we're just thinking about the moment. We're just living about right now. We're just living for right now. And the men that we want think every day about the finite amount of time that they have left and what they want to accomplish in that time. So if you want to be in a relationship with a man, you have to make sure that what you are offering is valuable to him. That's how you get what you want. You don't lead with, well, this is what I want, and this is when I want it, and this is how I want it. You can go place your order somewhere else. There'll be a man that'll jump when you say jump. I'm sure of it. But it's not the man that you want. The man that you want has a purpose. He can communicate that purpose to you. He has goals. One of the things that I remember when I reconnected with my man, somebody I grew up with in childhood, he had a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 30-year goals. And I'm just sitting there happy to have a Chick-fil-A. And I was like, okay, this is very different. So I want the ladies, especially the young ones that are prioritizing relationships in their youth, I want you to have this information. I know a lot of people thought Kevin Samuels was very polarizing, but he was trying to rattle our cages and get our attention. All right. Discipled One says, are you the feminine asset to his masculine brand? Yeah, it's really important, ladies. Every man is looking for his first lady. So you can think about a president or a pastor or a college professor, but every man wants that woman that represents him well, even if and especially if he is not there. Do you conduct yourself? Do you show up in a way that speaks pride and honor about your relationship or your marriage? Or are you somebody that, once nobody's looking, you're a whole different person? But yes, it's very important, ladies. And, one of the things that my man said, yes, attraction is important, but especially those of you all who are doing all this elaborate everything, hair, nails, eyelashes, I can't even keep up. The problem is this, and it broke my heart to hear it, but ladies, if you show up as your representative and not your actual self, that is who, and your man likes it, that is who he likes, not you. Thank you so much, Swavdi. Meaning, all of us, I think it is a human desire for all of us to be loved for who we really are. There is nothing so beautiful than when you can just be yourself, silly, or whatever your personality is, and know that your husband, your wife, your man, your woman loves you for you. So especially young women who are getting caught up in all these trappings and accoutrements and spending money that you don't have to look like somebody you are not, just know this: your man wants to like you. Kevin said in this episode, he was talking about, and I had not heard this, where women were getting offended that men would approach them in the grocery store or just out and about running errands. Ladies, it is not more important that you can be dressed to the nines than it is that you can show up as a real woman who can get stuff done. Remember, we talked about that. If a man is vetting you for something serious, he wants to see you actually out and about in life as your regular self. So if you think you're only approachable worthy when you are done up from head to toe, he doesn't really like you. He doesn't really want you. So, sure, if you want to be the trophy, just make sure you always look perfect because that's what he wants. That's what he bought. That's what he signed up for. And am I saying to let yourself go? Absolutely not. But I can only imagine how it would feel if I were in a relationship or a marriage and I know that I have to be something other than who I am because that's what he really likes, not me. And the whole time, I really just wanted someone to like me. So, yeah, I don't know if you all had heard that Killa said offended. People are strange. Why be offended by a nice gesture? Well, you all can let me know in the chat, but I have heard women say this. It's like, I was looking crazy. I was just at the grocery store. Can you believe somebody hit on me? He probably saw an actual woman grocery shopping, which is the type of woman that he probably wants. Yes, men want women to be women. And I'm going to say it, ladies, the masculine men that you want, they require femininity. So if that's a problem for you, fine. There are men that will let you do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. But I promise you, you will grow to resent them. I promise you, you will not respect them. And that just bleeds into so many things, including the intimacy that Kevin talked about in this episode. And he said, ladies, like our men should have a desire for us. That's part of a healthy relationship. But I'll just say this in closing because I don't want to be too crass. You know, Kevin said that sometimes women think if a man is aroused, that means, oh, everything's great. And I'll just tell you this as a boy mom. Oh, discipled one. Thank you for the $9.99. Oh, I appreciate that. You are too generous. I'll just tell you this as a boy mom, especially for the young ladies that maybe don't know. That response is a physiological response that boys have even when you're changing diapers. Sometimes it's just there. So my point is a man doesn't have to really like you or love you to be aroused by you. So hear me well, ladies. Just because he's intimate with you, just because he may be physically turned on by you, does not mean at all that he has intentions for you. And I see a lot of women think 1+1 is 2 in that area. Well, we're doing this thing. That must mean that he wants to be with you. Not at all, ladies. Men can be intimate with somebody that they don't even like. And it's a painful truth if you've gotten confused by that, but hear it from an older woman. Work on the relationship skills that are going to help you in the long run. And then even those intimate moments will mean so much more when you know that your relationship is solid. All right. So let's see what you all are saying in the chat, and then I'm going to let you all go. Thank you for putting up with my voice tonight. But again, I did link this episode in the description. It was The Grinch Father Provides a Holiday Fix for Your Relationship. So I really do hope and pray. This is probably the last one of the year because they do it the first Friday of every month. And then I am determined to keep Kevin Samuel's name alive. He was incredibly generous. He actually gave us his blessing in the Patreon, and he came up with the name, The Wives Club. And I miss him every day. So whenever there's new content, I'll be here to react to it. All right. So everybody's good. Everybody's good. I'm just checking the chat. Yes. So thank you all so much. Let me thank the super chats that came in. Thank you, Discipled One, for the $9.99. So generous. I told you, Maggie, you deserve an offering. It's just my honor to give back. I don't have daughters, I don't have sisters, but like I said, every time Kevin Samuel said, "Where are the older women to teach the young?" I felt a calling, and that's what I'm going to do every day. That is my legacy. That is what I want to be known for. And being the best mother that I could to these two boys, giving the world two new citizens with their father that give more than they take. And even though I didn't get it right the first time, I pray for a second chance at marriage to be the best wife to my man and honor him in his name. Thank you, Suave D, for the $10. So generous of you. And then, ladies, help me thank the condemned man on our way out. Make sure if you have to apologize, make sure you acknowledge it, full stop. No buts here. No excuses. Like Kevin Samuel said, nobody owes you understanding. You are not entitled to the ear of someone to listen about your long sob stories about your upbringing or whatever, bad friends and who was in your ear and modern women and whatever. That is on you. You own it. Acknowledge it. And number two, apologize. I am so sorry. If you genuinely feel for someone and you know you have hurt them or disappointed them, it should affect you. It should make you feel bad. And I think that's a good prompting. And I hope that your ego doesn't get in the way of that. And then number three, make sure you don't repeat it. And if that means you have to cut off some friendships or, cut off some behaviors or make some changes, your relationship will be the better for it. And if that is a priority for you, I would encourage you to do that. All right. And thank you so much, The Condemned Man, for the $100 super chat. Yes, we miss Kevin every day. Erin Laura says, you and Lucy do a wonderful job. Aww. KS would be so proud. Thank you for saying that. Oh, I reached out to the family. I would love to have the recording of my consult with him. And I'll say something with you all that I don't think I've shared publicly, and it haunts me sometimes. But when I met with Kevin Samuels, I'm just a mom in Atlanta. I didn't have a YouTube channel. I didn't have anything. And when I pitched him the idea about creating this space for women, he loved it. And he actually suggested that we open for him, meaning, y'all remember he used to do Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 10 p.m.? We would have had a show like at 9:30 to review the previous episode from a woman's perspective. And then we would wind down our show and everybody would tune into Kevin. And I didn't feel ready. I mean, like, who am I? Y'all know how they came for Kevin, and just to have that type of a platform. So when I say he was so incredibly generous and changed my life, he was. And who knows what would have happened, but I asked if we could do it in the Patreon and not on the internet because I wasn't ready. So when you say that Kevin would be proud, that really touches me. I hope to keep him, proud. Oh, it would have been awesome. Yeah. All right. So Lucy and I will be back. Okay. So today is Monday. Lucy and I will be back. Sorry, y'all. Wednesday at 9 p.m. we have an episode on my channel and her channel. And I believe it's on how men should test women. So if this is helpful for you, I'll make sure that this is a podcast on YouTube and YouTube Music. Lucy and I are with you all twice a week. And so we'll see you all on Wednesday and Saturday. We got some good stuff coming up. And then I stream every day. Maggie, the substitute teacher, food and femininity content. All right. So thank you all so much for being here. Apologies for me getting over a cold. And we miss Kevin every day. So thank you so much. And we'll go ahead and end it here. And I'll see you all with Lucy on Wednesday. And I'll be back to react to Kevin's content in the new year. All right, everybody. If you celebrate, Merry Christmas. Please stay safe. I know they called him the Grinch father, but he was incredibly generous and kind to me. All right, everybody. Until next time.